2023 was a great year for Andrew Schulz. It was the first full year since he released his comedy special Infamous, and his career reached heights few comedians will ever experience. He sold out and performed shows for his tour all across the world, in venues like the Royal Albert Hall in London, the Aware Super Theatre in Sydney, and the Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi. But most impressive of all, he sold out Madison Square Garden in New York, not once but twice. Headlining MSG has been a dream of Andrew since he first started comedy, a dream only he and his father believed in. So for him to sell it out twice on the same weekend was something special. If that were all he'd achieved in 2023, the year would have been a huge success. But he also had a great year for his podcast Flagrant. From a viewership perspective, the podcast did better than ever in 2023, raking in 160 million views on YouTube, and that's not to mention all the listens it gets on audio platforms. Andrew also appeared in 2 movies, starring in New People with Jonah Hill and Lauren London, and White Men Can't Jump with Cinco Walls and Jack Harlow. By every metric, it looks like he's killing it. But as his fame has grown, something else has grown alongside with it: his ego. Over the past year or so, there have been countless moments caught on camera where Schulz has been patronizing, dismissive of others' opinions, or just plain rude. He often comes across like he thinks he's the smartest person in the room and that everyone else is 2 steps behind. Most examples of this can be seen on the Flagrant podcast, where Andrew has made a number of his guests feel extremely uncomfortable. And judging by some of Flagrant's more recent episodes, this doesn't seem to be getting any better. Before we get into it, it's important to understand the dynamic on the podcast. Andrew is the central figure on the show and directs most of the questions and conversation. Akash, who typically sits beside Andrew, is also a comedian and essentially fills the role of Schulz's sidekick. He laughs at almost all his jokes, no matter how outrageous, and constantly agrees with everything he says. Mark is also a comedian and is not too dissimilar to Akash in his dynamic with Andrew. While he doesn't come across like as much of a yes man as Akash, he routinely piggybacks on the jokes Andrew makes and rarely puts up any resistance when Schulz gets out of line. Then there's Alex, the producer of Flagrant. Of all of them, Alex is the least vocal, but unlike the others, he often challenges Schulz when he disagrees with him, and there's been many times where he's been the voice of reason on the pod. As a whole, the crew has a bad habit of interrupting guests and laughing way too hard at jokes that really aren't that funny. In April 2023, Whitney Cummings made an appearance on the podcast. Like Schulz, Whitney is a comedian and the two have been good friends for years. In the comedy scene, Whitney doesn't exactly have the best reputation, as a lot of people find her annoying and unfunny, so it's not out of the ordinary for her to receive criticism. But in this episode, any and all criticism was directed at Schulz. Andrew came into the podcast with super high energy and started poking fun at Whitney from the very first minute.
You just said that I didn't watch any of the roast.
No, I just,
Is that what you just said?
I just said,
What did you just say?
that
I didn't watch 1 minute of the roast.
no, said I sent you a link and
Just tell me what you said. Don't do the golden retriever outside the car window on the highway face. Let's just talk to each other.
I love that you just called me a dog and like
No,
that was
because
like,
when you think I'm setting you up for something, you
cute
do
dog,
this
though.
thing.
She brushed his comment off, but just minutes later, Andrew continued making more comments about her facial expressions.
you're
Why
gonna
do you
love
look
this.
at me with these faces like it's difficult?
She
This
can't control
is-
that.
Is listening hard for you? This is what it looks like when you're listening. This is you listening, right? This is you. I'm not talking. What do I do with my face while the other people talk?
At this point, Whitney called him out for the way he was acting, but it didn't take long for him to pick back up where he left off.
Jersey when I was
What's
broke.
up with you? What's up with you today? Why do you want to fight with me today?
Not like
I
this
didn't
shit.
want to fight.
You want to fight with me today? Dude, I love doing corporate gigs because it's also like, it's a big business, I think, for more like female comics. Because, you know, like being a stand-up as a woman, it's not a business. It's not a viable,
Can you tell us how hard it is? Like,
I'm not saying it's hard
tell us how
necessarily.
hard it is to
I'm
be a
not saying
female
it's-
comic. Like,
it's
that's
not-
what we love to listen to.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's hard to be
It's
a
so tough on the road.
No, it's not what I fucking said. What are you
Guys
doing?
trying to tell you to go back to the hotel.
No one, no,
This
bitch.
is so different than being a woman
I
anywhere
don't
else
have-
in life.
It's not-
How is being a comic on the road any different than just going out to a bar? I always hear this from female comics. They're like, guys always trying to go back to your hotel. And it's like, look at the face again. You're listening
no,
again.
I just
You
put-
put on your
you're just
listening
putting
face.
words in my mouth.
I'd rather you look at me and just think about like a dog bone. Just think about a bone. Just think about a bone. Think about your happy face, and then look like this when I'm talking to you.
It's safe to say it was starting to get awkward, and this wasn't even 10 minutes into the podcast. Whitney seemed to be forcing laughs to mask the fact she was getting annoyed, but she couldn't keep it up for very long.
The LAPD, I mean, their whole thing is like, you don't really need, like, you know, BB gun I have loaded, but if you have a gun, Like, that solves half of your problems.
I feel like you're having
Doggone.
4 different conversations with yourself right now.
You know what? First of all, how dare you? I came in here, I'm being attacked by you motherfuckers. I'm trying.
Attacked! I just sat down. You said I went home.
Eventually, Whitney had enough and started firing back, hitting a pain point for Andrew around his fertility, as he and his wife had been struggling to conceive a child for some time.
Don't do that. Don't you dare do that. It's not a rock climber in the 1700s when we didn't have cables and shit.
What's going on? Did
I need to know what's going on. You come on here, you say you're a big old bull dyke out of the nowhere.
Hold on. I'm not a bull dyke.
Come on.
What? Did Emma take down your Die Hard poster? What's going on? What's going on at home here?
You come in.
What's going on at home?
You come in and you tell me that you're lying about something.
What's going on? Are you shooting?
I need to get to the bottom of
Are you
it.
shooting blanks? Why are you such a grump?
Yes.
She also highlighted his hypocrisy for mocking Hollywood and the movie business up until he started getting roles, after which he did a complete 180. When the podcast got past the hour mark, Schulz noticeably slowed down, with the high energy he had earlier in the episode completely disappearing. He started getting deep and pretty much turned the whole podcast into some sort of weird therapy session.
You got a lot of people who love you.
Well, I think that the key, and my best friend Nikki
Don't explain it.
told me,
Don't
if
explain
you're
it.
gonna get your heart broken,
Don't explain it.
Just take it in.
Just take it in.
but I agree.
Stop trying to
But what do you
science
want me
it.
to say though?
Just
Stop being a
nothing.
nerd with your
Don't say
facts.
anything.
Just take it in.
Don't
Just
be a
hear
nerd
it.
with your facts.
But I'm
hey,
gonna say a quote that resonated with me.
yeah, by
Give it
some
a second.
gay
Just
guy.
give it a second.
I just want to
Material.
hear about. I want to hear about your friend.
But I'm telling you, I'm
coming to
grieving.
your house
I'm doing everything
and
I need to
caring
do.
about you. That's what I want to hear about.
Yeah, they show up, which by the
It
way,
was probably frustrating.
And
It
they
was
were like-
probably annoying.
no, it wasn't. I was kind of like, because a lot of people were talking about that they were worried about me, and you know.
What an awesome thing.
I know, I
that
agree.
people care.
From here, Schulz kept trying to psychoanalyze Whitney, which felt really out of place, especially given how the podcast started. But this change in his approach didn't make him any less rude.
I think you're
night.
going through a lot, and I think it's really cool that you have friends that care about you enough to show up and just be like, hey, how you feeling?
Yeah.
Are you good?
Yeah.
And I know in that moment, it's easy to reject it. You know, like, I know once I was...
No, I was just trying to understand how I'm perceived.
Let me tell you a story.
Okay. Hollywood's never been like fair. Why should it be?
That's
I
the
mean,
thing.
it's like neither
Okay,
sports.
Now
Like,
this is a fucking wild take that the guys don't really appreciate.
I think it's sorry. Can I say something about
No,
Nepo
I
babies?
was in the middle of a sentence.
I know, but if we're
I
moving
know,
on-
but we're not moving on. It's
But
about
do-
this.
okay.
It's about this.
Her face here says it all. The fact that Schulz spent the entire podcast interrupting her and then had this reaction when she interrupted him is wild. And viewers pretty much all agreed that he was acting out of line. Andrew woke up this day and decided not to let his guests talk and attack every single thing they say. My respect for Whitney just skyrocketed due to how she handled this. Respect for Schulz has plummeted. At the end of the podcast, Whitney said this would be her final appearance on Flagrant.
Listen, I think the takeaway from this
is that this
episode-
is my final appearance on the Flagrant
no,
podcast.
you're more than welcome to come every single time you want.
Andrew misinterpreted what she meant here, and she may have been serious about not coming back, because as yet, she hasn't made another appearance. Schulz's behavior on the Whitney episode isn't something new. Months earlier, in November 2022, he appeared on an episode of the Full Send podcast where he did something similar. The podcast wasn't going particularly well, and Schulz started getting at the hosts for their lack of preparation. This led to a confrontation between him and Steiny, one of the hosts of the podcast, which ended up being so awkward the podcast almost got scrapped.
Me taking time out of my day to do this and then feeling
Dude,
like
I've
I'm
never
forcing you guys to do the podcast.
I thought you were just being a little annoying.
How?
I think you're annoying.
Really?
A little bit. Yeah.
And what makes you think that?
I don't know.
It's gonna be like a therapy session.
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck?
Like he did with Whitney, Schulz then started analyzing Steiny and acting as though he had him all figured out.
No, just say how you honestly feel.
I feel good, bro. I think you're pretty
You don't
funny.
feel good. You don't feel good. You feel insecure right now because you think I don't like you. I
Playing
think
a
that
character.
I think you need attention. I think you're doing anything you can to get attention. And right now you're making this podcast about you, which is the most boring part of the conversation. We have much more interesting people to discuss whose lives
Is this
are more
planned or no?
fascinating.
No,
Oh fuck! I don't ever want to do a podcast again. Straight up.
Even that doesn't sound real.
you might have just retired him.
Oh, straight
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Now Steiny is often the butt of the joke in that group, so he's an easy target. But Schulz really didn't need to go after him as much as he did. In isolation, you might not think much of it, but when you also consider his treatment of Whitney, it starts to look a lot worse. Therapizing people is one thing, but Andrew has another habit that might be just as bad. For whatever reason, he regularly touches his guests on flagrant during their conversations. Most of the time, this is just in a friendly and harmless way, although I'm sure there are still some people who don't appreciate it. But other times, it crosses the line into being inappropriate. There's no better example of this than when Logan Paul was on the podcast in August 2023. Schulz spent the majority of the podcast cozying up to Logan, which is strange given how controversial a character he is. But what was more weird was how Schulz kept groping him. He was squeezing Logan's thighs, chest, arms, really anywhere he could reach, all while commenting on how buff he is.
I love you guys.
Welcome
it's always
back.
a good time kicking out with the boys.
You're doing great.
Thanks. Yeah, bro, I wasn't engaged. Now I'm engaged.
Yo, you are, dude. I'm fucking engaged. I'm putting the gay in engaged. Dude, he got D's, bro.
Wait, did he?
Dude.
This happened literally 2 minutes into the pod, and it didn't stop there.
Be serious, bro. Be serious, bro. Let me squeeze your arms again. Be serious, bro. Come on. Feel that, though. Feel that. Feel that.
I've been trying to size him up, and I'm like, yo, he's kind
He
of
might
big.
got you.
Stress between us. Andrew.
Come on, bro.
I'm insulting the guest.
Come
He's
on,
trying to
bro.
be serious, dude.
Bro, I had to make sure the legs are also getting worked out.
Come on,
You know
bro.
what I mean?
He's trying to be serious.
Chill, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
Okay.
Are you concerned about fighting Mike Perry potentially?
Yo, son, that's a harder fight.
No.
Nah, he ain't trying to do that.
That's a harder fight. What the fuck? Bro,
How you just got that in the tuck like that?
come? There's no...
Let me tell you
Take your
something.
shirt off.
Yeah, ooh.
Take your shirt off,
Talk
though.
about
Take your
it.
shirt off. Take your shirt off.
Nah,
Yeah,
we
But-
won't be able to hear.
but-
Oh, let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh,
Let's go.
you got that
Yeah.
I'm cooked.
Pants
It was
off.
10
Take your
rounds.
pants
It
off,
was
son.
10 rounds.
We knew. Take your pants off, son.
Jake was gonna win.
Take your pants off,
Bro,
son.
At several points here, Logan made it obvious that groping wasn't welcome, but Schulz didn't seem to care. The whole thing was just bizarre, and another guest might have been far less forgiving than Logan. One guest that hasn't been afraid to challenge Schulz is Shane Gillis. Shane is a popular comedian who first appeared on the Flagrant podcast in October 2021. At the time, he had just released his first special on YouTube and had made his first appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Today, we had to remove the mic from the trouble because he had such a crazy weekend in Vegas. But today, we are joined by one of my favorite comics working today. The newly viral sensation Shane Gillis is in the building.
Since then, he's been on Flagrant twice, once in October 2022 and most recently in October 2023. Over this time, his career has really taken off. He released his second special, Beautiful Dogs, which went straight to Netflix, and he's become a regular on JRE, appearing on the podcast 14 more times. In many ways, Gillis is now faring better in the comedy world than Schulz is. He took a more conventional route to the top, relying less on social media virality like Andrew, which is part of the reason he's more respected in the scene. A lot of people see him as funnier and more of a natural talent than Schulz, and the fact he got his second ever special released on Netflix speaks to that. While Andrew lives out in New York, Shane lives in Austin, Texas, where Joe Rogan lives, and he's embedded himself into the comedy circle Joe is building there. In his last two appearances on Flagrant, there's been this weird, almost competitive energy between them, mostly coming from Schulz, and many viewers believe this is because Schulz is insecure around Gillis.
Yeah, well, thank you for giving us the energy for the question we didn't ask.
No, I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Excited
What's
about
your
SNL?
fucking problem, dude?
Excited
You had a
about
bad
SNL?
attitude when I called
Excited
you
about
today.
that?
You were grumpy when I
Yeah,
called
I
you.
did have a bad attitude.
Why were you being grumpy?
Because you faked the whole I don't know what's going on thing, and
I
I didn't
didn't.
like. Oh, you did. You called me the day of the pod. You're like, oh yeah, we had that
shit.
today.
I said, oh shit, are we
How
doing
often?
pod today?
How often do you call me?
And I wanted to call you. I wanted to talk to you.
Yeah, right before the pod.
Yeah, I wanted to say,
You
oh
are
shit.
being fake.
By the way, that's foul. These guys are awesome.
Yeah.
They're having fun.
Yeah.
For you guys to sit here and be like,
Wait a minute.
let's bring it up and mock them. That's fucked up, dude. That's a dude.
We're mocking
By
you, yeah,
by
yeah.
using them as an insult.
Using.
Yeah.
We're using you.
So you're insulting them by saying I look like them? Or
We're
you're insulting me
you.
by saying I look like them?
This is you back in your victim thing.
No, I'm not being a victim. I'm saying the jokes you're doing is not, it's not like,
It's not PC.
that's not cool.
You know what's really great?
Triggering.
You're making fun of these guys, these Down syndrome dudes,
Yeah.
putting out TikTok videos.
It's not easy to call out a room of people who are all on the same side, so props to Shane here. You can feel the combative energy coming from Schulz, but Gillis chose not to rise to it. This can be seen again in his most recent Flagrant appearance after Mark made a silly joke.
You gotta try Sugon with a girl. What's Sugon?
That's where you sug on his dick, dude. You fucking idiot. I hate you.
You're fucking gay. You're so gay.
Yo, how did you fall for that, Shane?
Shane looked like he wanted to be anywhere in the world other than on that couch. Schulz was clearly annoying him, and he got back at him in the best way possible, by mocking him and turning his own crew against him.
I have everything I need, and I'm not happy as
How
angst.
feel?
Whoa.
You got your nails painted. You look like an angst. You know what I mean?
I love Schultz
What are you
epiphanies.
talking about?
Schultz epiphanies are my favorite.
Yo.
He repeats a statement. He's like,
That's crazy, though. It's true.
Schultz epiphanies.
I think drugs are almost like a necessary component to dealing with life in the way we have to live it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you need to do drugs if you're fucking in Alaska.
I think if you're in Alaska,
oh my God.
you need drugs.
Talk about it like
If you're like a canner in Alaska, you probably don't need heroin.
I hope you're on the wide for that.
That was hilarious.
drugs are a necessary
That was
component.
hilarious. Yo, keep
I
philosophizing,
hate how
bro.
this has turned on me. I hate how this has turned on me.
You know what? I'll give you better tips. I know you got off of me.
How do I let this happen?
You can tell this is something Schultz's boys have been thinking for ages, but someone else bringing it up finally gave them the permission to laugh. Shane proceeded to toy with Andrew even more by shifting focus away from him and onto Akash. He asked Akash how the road's going, and they started chatting about it, but it didn't take long for Andrew to derail their conversation.
I hate the sunglasses. I just can't see. We might as well be on Zoom.
Keep them on. I'm keeping them on, dude.
You
If
might
I
as
take them
well
off
be on
now, he
Zoom.
wins.
Okay.
Come on.
Oh fuck, that's right. It's a competition thing. It's not that. I really genuinely just feel
No,
like
it
I
is a
can connect.
competition thing. You're the one trying to take my glasses off me.
Can we
You
reframe
hate
it?
that we're focusing
Can we
on Akash
reframe
right
it?
now. Yo, that's it's not about you for a second. Akash.
Okay. Anyway, so more that was good. Some more questions.
That was good.
Some more
You really
questions
got
about
under the skin
Akash.
with that.
It was good. It was
You
good.
really got
I
under
know
the
the under the skin. No, but it was a good.
No way.
Shane beat Andrew at his own game, and he made it look easy. But this is something we rarely see on Flagrant, and the next guest I'm going to talk about didn't fare so well. In December 2023, DJ Academics made his third appearance on Flagrant, and the episode was brutal. It was as if Andrew and the others kept forgetting they had a guest on because they just wouldn't stop interrupting him. About 40 minutes into the podcast, Academics started telling a story about the first time he went to London, and what followed was difficult to watch.
I'm in London. I go to London for the first time.
Yeah. How was it?
London was kind of cool. It's definitely not American.
Why don't you?
No shit. God damn, yo, Ak, you on it. Bro.
Sometimes you're the most brilliant person that I've ever met,
Thank you.
and sometimes you be saying some shit.
Anyway, so I'm in London. Diddy had previously hit me up to say, hey, listen,
Yo,
stop fucking with my
think
side
about
chick.
basketball nicknames. Earl Monroe, Earl the Pearl, Black Jesus.
Novak
And you're
Kyrie.
Novak. Do you see the drop in creativity?
Anyway, so I'm in. Hold on, this all makes sense.
Fast talking
Hold
out.
on.
Fast talking out. I love that.
Stop
He's good.
it.
He's
No,
good.
stop.
This
stop,
guy's
stop.
good.
No.
This guy's good.
I gotta say the story, okay?
Say the story, bro.
Check this out. So I'm in London.
From here, another 5 minutes went by with him making little to no progress with the story, after which he tried to put his foot down.
Young M.A., yo.
Saucy said that as a dude, but you wouldn't fight him.
No,
If
Young
I
M.A.
date
is this shit. I ain't gonna lie. Young M.A. is this shit.
you, can I tell my fucking story?
Yeah, bruh.
God damn it.
Tell me your story.
You'd think that at this point they'd let him speak, but the conversation got sidetracked once again, and Academics was forced to shout over them before they finally allowed him to tell the story.
Hey, can I tell my fucking London story?
Yeah, tell your story.
Now,
DJ Academics might be the most patient person I've ever seen, because he was dealing with this throughout the entire extra long 4-hour podcast. At one point, as he was telling a different story, Schulz reached across him and grabbed a pack of Zins from Mark. Zins are a brand of nicotine pouches which are highly addictive, and Schulz began pressuring Academics to take one, continuing even after he refused.
apparently one of them is about to be passed out.
Try one of these.
What is this?
This
Nah,
is
that's a weed shit. Nah, I'm good.
It's not weed. It's a Zin.
It's nicotine.
Oh, hell no.
No.
You're gonna be hooked. No, I'm good. I'm good.
It's not about a hook.
You won't get hooked.
It's
Oh, hell no. I'm good.
It's like a dip.
No,
Just
no, no.
try it.
No, no, I
Will you
can't.
just try it?
I got addicted personality for real.
Just try it.
Nah, I can't do it, brother.
You can literally take it out a
No,
second
no.
afterwards. You're
No,
not
no.
gonna feel
Oh,
anything.
hell no. Hell
just
to the
try
no.
one.
No, I can't do it, brother. I can't do it.
Why not just try one?
No, because I'm gonna be addicted.
You're not gonna be
You're
addicted.
not gonna be
It's such a
addicted.
stupid thing to think.
And when you see
Also,
me,
you're probably an
when-
alcoholic
no,
anyway, so what are you
no,
concerned
no,
about Zyn for?
It's crazy seeing two 40-year-olds trying to peer pressure someone into taking a drug, but given everything else we've seen, maybe it's not that surprising. In the rest of the pod, Schulz kept coming out with some very questionable takes, such as Adam 22 being a marketing genius for allowing his wife to make a public sex tape with another man, and Charlemagne the God being the greatest radio host of all time over hosts like Howard Stern and Wendy Williams. When academics disagreed with Schulz and gave pushback, Schulz simply bulldozed his opinion. The episode got a ton of dislikes, and the comment section is full of flagrant fans who are clearly getting sick of Andrew. It's gotten to the point now where many OGs can no longer bring themselves to watch the podcast because they feel like it's become a circus, and at the heart of it is Andrew's antics. But with the numbers still going up and Schulz's career going from strength to strength, I doubt we'll be seeing any changes anytime soon.